Resolved. It will be illegal to own guns in America. Guns kill. They do more harm than good and must be outlawed. Guns don't mix well with gangs, mental illness, or children. By banning firearms, crime, accidental shootings, and suicides will be reduced. It's time to start saving lives. According to the New Yorkers Against Gun Violence, when having a gun for self-defense, it is 22 times more likely for there to be a homicide, accidental shooting, or suicide. That means for every one time a gun in the home was used in a self-defense or legally justifiable shooting, there were 4 unintentional shootings, 7 criminal assaults or homicides, and 11 attempted or completed suicides. Digging deeper into reducing crime. According to the National Crime Victimization Survey, 467,321 people were victims of a crime committed with a firearm in 2011. In the same year, data collected by the FBI shows that firearms were used in 68% of murders, 41% of robbery offenses, and 21% of aggravated assaults nationwide. Getting rid of guns would not only help resolve these felonies, but it would also save lives and money. The Centers for Disease Control, also known as the CDC, has concluded that non-fatal gun injuries and gun-related deaths cost the U.S. $5.6 billion in medical spending. That number goes up to $64.6 billion when including the lost productivity due to the injuries. There is also $4.7 billion in gun-associated court costs yearly. According to the Daily Journal of the United States of America, the average cost to house a prisoner was $28,284. If you multiply that number times the number of gun-related crimes annually, the total would be over $13 billion. Eliminating guns would cut at least 75% of that bill. And there's nothing more precious than life. Who can put a price on that? We are all too familiar with, in Aurora, Colorado, Century Theater, killing 12 and injuring 70. In Newtown, Connecticut, Sandy Hook Elementary, gunman fatally shot 20 children, 6 adult staff, his mother, and himself. And here at home in Cedar Rapids, the Livingston double murder-suicide. Uncovering the sadness of accidental shootings. Unintentional gun fatalities can be the most heartbreaking, such as a 16-year-old boy who accidentally got shot by his father while deer hunting, or a 2-year-old who shot himself after picking up his grandfather's gun that was left on a chair. In the past 5 years, almost 3,800 people have died due to these accidental shootings, whether it would be hunting or children wondering what guns are. A federal government study of unintentional shootings found that 8% of such shooting deaths resulted from shots fired by children under the age of 6. States with the highest gun ownership levels had 9 times the rate of unintentional firearm deaths compared to states with the lowest gun ownership levels. Children and teens are accidentally shot by themselves, by parents, siblings, relatives, friends, neighbors, and caregivers. Many guns obtained in the shootings were used by the families as personal protection. Most shooting accidents involve children who discover unsecured loaded guns around the house. Finishing off with reducing suicides. Guns are the most common method of committing suicide, with over 50% being accomplished with a firearm. David Hemingway, director of a Harvard Injury Control Research Center, has conducted studies linking states with higher gun ownership levels to overall higher suicides. Other researchers have also found an increased risk of suicide in homes with guns, typically 2 or more times higher than in homes without them. A study of California handgun purchasers found that after the first year of purchasing a handgun, suicide was the leading cause of death among the purchasers. Bottom line, guns kill. Banning guns would save lives, and life is priceless.
My opponent says that guns assist suicide, but we disagree because guns don't kill people just like cars don't drive drunk, clothes don't throw themselves on the floor, and markers don't color on walls. And even so, there are other ways of committing suicide, such as overdosing, self-harming, suffocating, and hanging yourself. Therefore, even though my opponent says that guns help commit suicide, there are many more ways to kill yourself. Are we going to ban things like ropes and clothes? No, that would be silly, just like banning guns is. My opponent also stated that guns kill. But we disagree because guns don't just pick themselves up and go and shoot somebody. Somebody themselves actually has to pick it up and pull the trigger. Therefore, guns don't do it, people do.
To conquer a nation, first disarm its citizens. With this quote, Hitler not only explains how he took over several countries, but also deprived the citizens of their rights. Imagine a world without guns. There would be no amendment protecting the right to own guns, no hunting, and banning guns would leave a bad economical impact. Banning guns is unconstitutional. According to the Second Amendment, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The Bill of Rights ensures the liberties that all American citizens obtain. The Second Amendment was created to ensure militias the right to own guns. But as time progressed, the amendment began to be viewed in a different way. However, throughout history, crime rates have risen, and people began to feel the need to protect themselves and their family. It provides them with a sense of security. Removing the right to own guns also takes away hunting rights. Based on my personal experience, hunting is a cheaper way to provide for families. Inexpensive meat gives the family more money to spend on what they may need. People should be able to use the method of hunting because it also keeps species from overpopulating. In personal experiences, deer have caused a couple of recent car crashes throughout my family. Car crashes caused by large animals will most likely cause high repair costs. Population control also helps stop or lessen the number of invasive species. Hunters enjoy not only the experience of hunting, but also support the laws that protect the wildlife. Prohibiting guns would leave a bad impact on the economy. The manufacturers will be greatly impacted by the banning of guns. According to Paul Leithner, restricting the manufacturing and the sale of A-class weapons is going to be devastating to the economy. Not only will manufacturing be impacted, but so will the workforce. The National Shooting Sports Foundation estimated the economic impact of firearm sales totaled $31 billion in 2011. The impact of the gun industry is as important as any other. Overall, guns shall not be banned. The banning of guns would be unconstitutional. Without guns, people wouldn't be able to hunt, therefore they could not easily provide for their families, and they would not be able to pursue their passions. Lastly, banning guns would hurt the economy.
That guns should be allowed because of the Second Amendment. But I disagree because when they first made the Constitution, they made a lot of mistakes, such as the rule that alcohol is allowed. But eventually, the people of America fought back and outruled that law or amendment. And the women can't vote, right? That was eventually outruled too. Therefore, guns should be banned in America. My opponent says there are many other ways to commit suicide, but I disagree because almost all suicides are committed with a gun because most people don't want to go through the pain of hanging or...
My opponent has said that guns are used for hunting, but I disagree because you can use other weapons for hunting as bows and arrows. This would also save you money because you won't have to go out and buy ammo every time you go out hunting. Therefore, guns aren't used for hunting. My teammates have said that crime rates can be lowered by reducing the amount of guns around. Many accidental shootings occur with people under the age of 25, and 8% of these were kids under the age of 6. Many of these deaths could be reduced if we got rid of guns. 55% of suicides are caused by guns, so at least 55% of suicides can be reduced. Many people use guns for murder. In 2013, 11.4 thousand people were killed by the use of a weapon or a firearm. We could stop these shootings from happening by reducing the guns. Civilians would also be safer. If guns were used for protection, then why are they the most used weapon for murder?
My opponent says that there are no other ways to commit suicide, but that is incorrect because people have heard of other people around the world hanging themselves and other gruesome ways of killing themselves. But also based on our research, only 34% of suicides are committed with a gun. Therefore, there are other ways to commit suicide. What would happen if guns were banned? The U.S. would hit rock bottom. There would be terrifying riots and protests all around the U.S. If you think the shootings now are bad, there would be numerous more. My teammates and I strongly believe that guns are needed for various reasons. Banning guns would be breaking the perfected Constitution that our founding fathers made. Breaking one of the few rules that our ancestors had to fight for. The hunting impact on the banning of guns would hurt over 31 million hunters around the U.S. The economical impact on the prohibition of guns would be extensive. Gun sales are over $31 billion a year. Last but not least, making everyone's lives feel endangered because they're getting their rights as a U.S. citizen taken away. What kind of government is that? How many lives do guns save? 2.5 million. How much is that? That's 6,850 every day, 68 in just Iowa every day, 5 every minute, 1 every 12 seconds. 1 every 12 seconds. Every time you feel the need to blink, a citizen has saved a life with a gun in the U.S. According to J. Neil Schulman, citizens stop twice as many criminals as the police department does because they're armed with a firearm. As stated by Rents.com, 200,000 women protect themselves from sexual abuse every year. How do you think they did it? With a gun. Also stated by Rents.com, for every one person that does harm with a gun, 80 people have used a gun to protect themselves. Here's a story to prove all of that. A 14-year-old Phoenix boy shot an armed intruder that broke into his home at approximately 4:30 p.m. Saturday, June 23rd. At that time, the boy was babysitting his younger siblings ages 8, 12, and 12. The incident started with the man ringing the doorbell to the residence. Since the boy didn't recognize the man, the boy refused to open up the door. A short time later, the boy heard a loud bang, which he correctly assumed was someone forcing entry through the door. The boy gathered his siblings and hurried them upstairs as he armed himself with a firearm from his parents' bedroom. From the top of the stairs, the boy saw a man break open the front door. When the man pointed the gun at the boy shot the man. Imagine if that was you, or for some of you, if that was your child. What do you think would have happened if that 14-year-old boy didn't have that gun? Horrid, terrifying things. I don't care if I fall, as long as someone picks up my gun and keeps on shooting. Che Guevara. That's how most Americans feel about guns. They want to fight back.
My opponent stated, even though it was in the Bill of Rights, that the amendments can be changed and there's been many mistakes. But we disagree because after one thing is changed, more and more will be changed, and we will lose our rights that our founding fathers fought for. Therefore, even though they may technically be able to change our rights, that they will only make the country worse. My opponent says that guns are used for murder, but we disagree because there's other ways to stop murder. And even if you were to ban guns, there's always the black market. According to PBS, 23,775 guns make it to the black market every year, and that's just the ones that are reported lost. Therefore, even if America bans guns, anyone who wants a gun will always be able to get one. Lastly, my opponent stated that bows and arrows can be used for hunting too. But we disagree because guns are more accurate and can hit a longer distance. Therefore, bows are less effective than guns.
My opponent says that most people use guns for protection, but I disagree because guns are designed to kill. They don't protect you, they just kill. Protecting yourself just means another death, the statistics. And like my friend Cade said, nothing is more precious than life. Therefore, guns do not protect people, they just kill. My opponent says that not all murders are made by guns. But in China, 22 kids got knifed by a guy, but they all survived. Therefore, guns should be